From John, what did you read that gave you the inspiration to be a writer, or was that an innate desire of yours? Well, it was a combination. This also, The Great Good Thing, people really, it's got almost 400 reviews on Amazon, and it's 5 stars. It's still at 5 stars, and it's got even more on Audible. It's called The Great Good Thing, A Secular Jew Comes to Faith in Christ, but it's also about my journey as a novelist and a writer, and I talk about this a lot. First of all, because I was a very unhappy kid. Hard to believe now, but it's like I really have lived 2 lives. But because I was an unhappy kid, I became a chronic daydreamer. I escaped into daydreams, and because I'm a very rational person, my daydreams always had to make sense. And so I couldn't just say, I'll have a daydream about having superpowers. I'd always have to say, well, how did he get superpowers? Like, did I come from another planet, or did I drink some serum or something? So I started to build stories in my head, and I got to be very good. It wasn't a very healthy way to live, but it was a good way to start to develop my sense of storytelling. And then as I got older and I started to read, because I was not in a good relationship with my father, I had no male role models, and I began to look for male role models in fiction. So I began to really like the tough guy writers, American tough guy writers, Ernest Hemingway, the detective writers, Dashiell Hammett, James M. Cain. But my favorite of all was Raymond Chandler, and I think it may have been Chandler above all who made me think, this is what I want to do. This kind of writing is what I want to do. And what I loved about Chandler is that his detective, Philip Marlowe, one of the first of the great tough guy detectives, had in his mind a sense of chivalry. And he carried with him into this corrupt L.A. in which he worked this sense of old-fashioned chivalry. And he knew he was out of place, and he knew he was always going to take it on the chin because he was trying to be a knight. And as he says in The Big Sleep, the first novel, he says, this is not a game for knights. He's playing chess with himself, and he says, this is not a game for knights. So, but I really admired that. And it was by following the logic of knights and armor that I found King Arthur. And by finding King Arthur, I started to wonder about Christianity, because there's a lot of Christian myths in King Arthur. So that was another way that I started to come to God, not only to God, but also to become a writer. The Great Good Thing, you should buy it. It's really good. The Great Good Thing is Secular Jew Comes to Faith in Christ. All right.